I'm UFC fighter Ben Nguyen, and you are listening to the Bros.
What's up, everybody? As promised, we are back with part 2 of our epic Brostravaganza breakdown of UFC 200. And before we continue, just a quick shout out to our sponsors over at DC Dog Runner. The name says it all, folks. These guys run dogs, and they do a really good job. Check them out. DCDogRunner.com. And right now, they're offering a free consultation and complimentary run if you mention promo code Harrison Barnes. I'll be putting a link to their site in the description below. Check it out. DC Dog Runner. Gotta run. As I already mentioned, this is part 2 of our UFC 200 Fight Week coverage. So if you haven't checked out part 1, do so. We talk about a lot of exciting stuff on that one, covering UFC Fight Night 90, the Tough 23 finale, and also we go through the undercard of UFC 200. So check it out. To kick off this show, we're going to be joined by Ben Nguyen to talk about his upcoming fight against Louis Smoke at Fight Night Sioux Falls. So excited to get to chat with Ben, who will be fighting in his hometown. And then after that, we will cover the awesome main card for UFC 200 post the John Jones debacle. And we'll also maybe be joined by a special guest who may also be saving the card. So in many ways, this episode is just about as stacked as UFC 200. Your move, Dana White. Let's get right into it. We're about to be joined by Ben Nguyen. He is currently undefeated in the UFC. He is the number 1 ranked bantamweight in Australia and currently the 15th ranked flyweight in the UFC. And we are so excited to get to chat with Ben 10. How's it going?
Yeah, good, man. Just forgot I had a photo shoot today, so just knocked that out. And then
Wow, early.
yeah.
You were saying you wanted to
Yeah, I know.
Sundays was your sleep-in day.
Yeah, I know, but then I was like, oh shit, I have a photo shoot. So that went out the window, but
well, we're really happy you were joining us here on Bros. Thanks for coming on. Ben,
no
you grew up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. What was that like?
Oh man, I did. Man, it was it was fun. It was quiet. Uh, I was pretty much used to being the only Asian person in my whole town. So like, just think of being the only Asian person in your class. Wherever you're going, to see another Asian person, you're like, oh my god, another Asian.
Oh, bro.
So
I can relate.
It's crazy, like coming to like a bigger city, like now in Brisbane, Australia, where there's a lot larger population of Asians. So there's actually like Chinatown and all that stuff, and just just seeing them and not being the only Asian. So it's pretty cool.
That's right. You're in Australia now. We'll get to that in a bit. It doesn't sound like you've picked up on the accent.
Oh, good. Because a lot of people have been saying that I have been picking it up. I actually I noticed it when I went back home for a bit, and everyone's like, "Ben, you sound Australian," and then I was like, "Man, are you serious? I want to
Oh,
stay
maybe.
American, stay Midwestern. That's who I am. I don't want to lose that.
Maybe
Makes
a
me
little
special.
bit. I guess if I would have heard what you sounded like before, maybe maybe I could see the influence. But it doesn't sound like it's gotten too bad. At least you're not like saying "good eye, mate" or something like that.
I do say it sometimes just for a joke, like "Good day, mate. How you going?"
All right. So
Yeah.
you actually started martial arts at an early age. You did some taekwondo in your younger years. When you went to college, you went to college to become an engineer, and then midway
Yep.
through, You switched to mixed martial arts. How did that happen? Engineering is a respected career. That's a good career choice. Then you just woke up. You're like, no, I want to be a fighter. How did that happen?
Yeah, well, so going to college and then going and getting into MMA kind of happened at the same time. It's just kind of that like there's like a cage fight, and I wanted to get into it, and I got into it about like the same time college was happening. So after I did my first fight, I was hooked. Like even though I lost, I uh, I knew I had to strive to be better to compete in the cage, because I pretty much went into my first fight with no other experience in martial arts except for Taekwondo. So in MMA, like I just got taken down, and then I just got laid on and wrestled on, and I didn't know what to do. Um, so I found a judo school nearby, and I started doing judo, and he kind of was helping me with my ground game a little bit. And yeah, man, like I just kind of fell in love with like the whole grappling arts, and that kind of led me into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai and doing all that stuff. And I just fell in love. I just couldn't stop wanting to learn so much. So I I was like, there was a point where I was like, man, like I really just want to do this for forever. Like I love this. So the next year, um, yeah, I just didn't sign up for any classes or anything, and I just quietly dropped out of college without my parents even knowing. And then when the school time came around, they're like, "What are you still doing home? Aren't you supposed to be up at college?" And I was like, well, about that, I'm not actually going anymore." And you know how Asian parents are. They're
Oh, I
like,
was just about to say, how did you get away
"You
with
go to."
that?
It was totally against my parents' will, but I did it anyways, and thank goodness I did, because I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't. And now I've actually got my parents' acceptance. So after being in the UFC and stuff and being on TV, they kind of realized how big of a thing it is. And man, yeah, they love it. They soak it up. They all about UFC now. So let's go.
Well, that's awesome. I know that that's really big. It sounds like you had to deal with the tiger mom thing for a little bit, which.
Oh yeah, big
So
time.
here's the thing. Most fighters, they decide this is what I want to do. I want to go into mixed martial arts. Next step, they got to find a gym, and if there's not a local gym to the caliber that they need, maybe they travel to a different state to find that. Maybe they travel a couple states to find that. You went to Thailand. You traveled over there. You joined the Tiger Muay Thai team. How did that happen?
Well, that happened just looking on the internet. I was on the ground, and I saw that they posted up. Tiger Muay Thai had posted up a post saying, "Hey, we're taking applications for the sponsored athlete team tryouts." And so I just kind of just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna throw in my application, see what happens. And not thinking any of it, I got the call from the head coach, Brian Ebersol. And I was in the middle of a work meeting, and yeah, I was just I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was so excited. And man, I just I had to make a big decision. Like I was at a big crossroads. Like I was like, where do I go from here? Do I just keep continuing where I'm going now, like with work? Because I was doing really well in work and just climbing the corporate ladder, um, but at the same time wasn't happy with where I was at with martial arts, because that's what I love to do. And I got to a point where I was like, I can't look back on this moment and think, what if? I've got to do it. I've got to try. So I pretty much quit my job. I sold everything I had, sold my car, sold my motorcycle, And I flew out to Thailand to try out for this team, and thankfully I was one of five to make the team, and from there it just opened up so many doors for me. Just from finding um, one of my coaches that I still work with today, Brian Ebersol, and a great team to work with overseas in Thailand, one of the hotbeds of martial arts. So it was kind of a dream for me to go overseas and train and stuff, and just live that martial arts dream. Just pack up everything and go to another place and train. Just concentrate on that. Wake up, go train, eat, come back and train. And from there on, it just opened up so many doors for me. So yeah, that's pretty much how that happened with going over to Thailand.
Now, you've mentioned this earlier, you're in Brisbane, Australia now. I think a little bit of that had to do with your wife, April Adams, being from
That's
Australia.
correct. Yeah. Someone's been doing some
Congratulations to you
reading on
too.
me.
Little known fact I want to point out to our listeners, but his wife is a kickboxer herself.
Yeah. Well, she's doing boxing right now, but
Okay.
yeah, she did do kickboxing a little bit. She just won the state title for boxing, the Queensland title, just a couple weeks ago. So she's doing really good, man. Watching her get into the ring and throw down, not only like with a lot of power and speed, but like just very technical. Like she looked like a Manny Pacquiao, like a female Manny Pacquiao, and it looked very on point. Like she was very technical and very fast. So it was scary to watch her um, go in there and just kick some ass, man. It was awesome. It wasn't like wasn't expecting it. It was just seeing her, I guess, progress every fight, because I only see her when she fights, and yeah, she's just jumped and experienced so much. So
You don't have the same concerns a lot of husbands have with their wives when they go out. They're like, "Oh, honey, stay safe," or whatever. She can probably handle herself.
yeah, definitely, yeah. Man, she can pretty much punch my head off. So she can punch any stranger out there. So not a problem there.
I'm sure it keeps you in line a little bit. And also,
Yeah, that's it, man. I'm more scared for my life from her.
I'm also just
And
a little worried for the world a little bit whenever you guys have a little one in the future. That one's gonna be like the next Bruce Lee or something like that.
yeah, yeah, we're gonna have little ninja babies popping out.
All right. Well, your wife sounds like a very talented martial artist in her own right. But let's talk about you real quick. You are undefeated in the UFC. I think that KO of yours that went viral over Julian Wallace kind of put you on the map. You're a very exciting and dangerous striker. I want to give you a second to tell our listeners out there, why should they tune in when Ben 10 gets into the cage?
Oh man, because I've got such. I feel like I've got the one of the best hands in my weight division for sure. Not only with the power, but just my speed and accuracy and my timing is just on point. Like I love getting in there and just staying in the pocket and exchanging. Like I don't go backwards often. So my fights, most of my fights have been won through finishes. So I only have 2 decision wins out of my whole 15 set of wins. So yeah, I'm always going out there to finish, and that's why I think I'm exciting.
So you have a little bit of homecoming coming up here. You're gonna be fighting in your hometown. You're gonna be
That's
fighting
right.
against Louis Smoke. This guy has he's coming in on a 3-fight win streak himself, including a very impressive submission of Patty Houlihan. What are you doing in preparation for Smoke?
What I'm doing is a lot of submission defense and just working on everything in general. Really, I feel like I'm better than him at every aspect. As far as like striking and grappling, a lot of people see me as just a striker because they've only seen me like knock that tattooed guy out on the internet. But I actually feel like I'm a stronger grappler, wrestler, um, jiu-jitsu person than a striker. Ever since I started grappling, I just kind of felt like I had fell in love with the grappling side of things, and I just kind of went in that direction more than I did with striking because I knew I was all right standing up. Coming from like a taekwondo background my whole life, so I feel like I would try to balance that out with more grappling and wrestling, and I kind of just took that direction a bit far. I wouldn't say like too far, but like I kind of weighted myself training that more than I did striking. So I feel like I'm a really well-rounded fighter. I'll take the fight anywhere it takes me. If he takes me down, you know, I'm not gonna be worried at all. Like I've got so many good attacks off and back. I can scramble up to my feet, wrestle him. I can ground and pound. My ground and pound is on point. My last fight, a lot of a lot of it had to do with my ground and pound and my accuracy, punching from the top position, and then getting my submission in with the rear naked choke. So I'm just doing a bit of everything, and a lot of takedown defense, and a lot of submission defense as well, because he's more of a, I think he's more of a grappler. So yeah, that's what I've been working on.
We're all going to be tuned in July 13th, UFC Fight Night 91 in Sioux Falls. Like we said, a little bit of a homecoming for you. Have you already been getting people trying to hit you up for tickets for that one?
Oh yeah, constantly, man. I'm just like, because it's my hometown, and I've got so many connections back at home in Sioux Falls. But yeah, everyone's hit me up with tickets and shirts, and I've been trying to get sponsorships in my hometown. But yeah, man, it's just been crazy. Everyone's messaging me really excited, saying they got the tickets already, and yeah, I can't wait.
All right, Ben, I got to ask you. You
Yep.
have what many people consider the pound for pound king at the top of your division, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. The crazy thing is, it seems like he keeps getting better every single time we see him in the cage. Just a very, very talented mixed martial artist. What is it going to take to dethrone Demetrius Johnson?
Oh man, that is a loaded question, sir. But I'm going to have to say, for me, when I face the champion, Demetrius Johnson, it is going to be about just trying to increase my chances of beating him. Like there's always going to be a probability of losing, and for Demetrius Johnson, it's going to be a bit higher because he's pound for pound one of the best. So for me, it's all about trying to increase my chances, trying to work on my striking, my clinch, wrestling, takedowns, you name it. I gotta improve everything to beat him, and I just gotta keep trying to increase my chances, and get in there and hopefully make him. I think for him, I've got to make him. I gotta trick him. I've gotta make him think I'm going one direction and then go the other direction. So I think that's the way. Like get him to zig when he should have zagged, and just catch him at the right time. So I think that's gonna be that would be my game plan. Yes.
All right, we're gonna switch gears a bit. I'm sorry, that was a bit of a loaded question.
That's right. I
I,
get asked that
I,
a lot, actually.
yeah, I mean it just comes with the territory, I guess. That division has so much talent. You're obviously one of those guys. You're in that mix. We're gonna switch
Definitely.
gears. We're gonna switch gears a little bit now. You're Vietnamese. I'm Vietnamese as well. Now I love Vietnamese food. But my
Oh,
brother, he's a bit apathetic. Now, how are you? Do you love Vietnamese food or just kind of like eh?
man, I live off the pho like every day. Like that's like my power source.
Oh, now we just found out that's your secret. I wonder if is USADA testing for pho?
Man, if they're not, they should be. No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't be.
That's the
But
source of all your success. That pho.
yes,
Is there any good pho places in Australia? Yeah.
bro. There's like a whole suburb that's full of Vietnamese people. I think it's called. I don't remember what it's called, but there are some good pho places here. It's pretty good. Like they do banh mi's taking off here.
Oh, that's
Like
awesome.
it's like it's everywhere now. Yeah, Vietnamese is taking off. There's so many Vietnamese places now. It's crazy. But yeah, man, there's a place in Chinatown, $10 pho. It's pretty good, man. I go there quite often. But one of my pre-fight rituals, like after I weigh in, is to go eat pho right away. Like boom, that's how I rehydrate, replenish myself, and afterwards I just feel like the Vietnamese Hulk, just you know.
Well, Ben, it's been such a pleasure talking with you. Like we said, you're a very, very talented fighter. I believe that you're just on that cusp. You're about to break out, and if they don't know you yet, they're going to know you very soon. You just have a very, very exciting style, and you're very charismatic. And we wish you all the best in your career, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, man.
It was such a pleasure chatting with Ben Nguyen and fellow pho connoisseur. We wish him all the best at UFC Fight Night 91. It's July 13th in Sioux Falls. It should be a good one. Now we're going to move into the next section of the podcast and break down this absolutely stacked UFC 200 main card. It's really hard to remove a guy like Jon Jones from a card and really not have it miss a beat. Do I miss the fact that Jon Jones isn't on the card? For sure. That grudge match between him and Cormier was one of the most anticipated fights of the year. We've already had to wait for the UFC 200 card because Cormier got injured for their rematch earlier this year. When you look at that pound for pound list, the talent is spread across all the divisions. So it's really rare when you can get two top pound for pound guys in the same division competing. We'll see what happens with Jones. I mean, if this is going to be a 2-year suspension or something like that, I mean, who knows if Cormier is even going to be around. But the show must go on, and this show is fantastic. The first fight on the main card, a heavyweight showdown between former champion Cain Velasquez versus Travis Browne. This is just another example of one of those fights where on any other card, this would be the headliner. Let's start with the former champ. This guy fights out of American Kickboxing Academy. This guy's a former Division I All-American wrestler, and that's really his bread and butter. Everything is set up with his strong wrestling base. He's really incorporated in a very solid boxing, kickboxing game, and for a while, his hybrid wrestling boxing style ruled the division. He has a 13-2 record. His last loss was to Fabricio Verdum, who just recently lost the belt to Stipe Miocic. At his best, Cain Velasquez is a relentless pressure fighter, mixing in punches and bunches with great level changes and a very diverse takedown game. We know that Cain, at the top of his game, is as good as anybody, not just in his division, in the UFC. The big question mark with Cain Velasquez is what Cain are we going to see? This guy has gone through a bout of injury issues the past few years. Are we going to see Cain at his best, or are we going to see a diminished Cain? The guy that's going to get to check it out firsthand, his opponent, Travis Browne. This guy is a giant. He towers over most of his opponents, standing at 6'7". He trains out of Glendale Fight Club. He's got a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but his bread and butter is his kickboxing. This guy has 14 knockout victories, and he has 13 finishes within the first round. He has really solid boxing and some very deadly kicks and knees. His ability to throw some of these kicks is very unusual for a guy that size. He's very fluid, is able to really put his hips into them, and he can really mix it up. Body kicks, head kicks. His opponents get hit with that, and they don't want to stay at range anymore, so they try to close the distance, and that's when Browne cracks him with his elbows, gets him in that clinch, and that's when he'll like to throw those knees. The key here, though, is whether or not he'll be able to employ some of these tools. The kicks, the knees, that leaves him susceptible to the takedown, and that threat's going to be there all night with a high-level wrestler like Cain Velasquez, which could mean on the feet we're going to be seeing more of a boxing battle. This type of fight would seem to favor Travis Browne. He's going to have a half-foot height advantage over Cain, and in a vacuum, Travis Browne's boxing's probably a bit better than Cain's as well. But Cain has a relatively long reach for his height, which will nullify some of that height advantage, and while his boxing may not be as good as Travis Browne's, his boxing game is built for mixed martial arts, and he's going to be able to smoothly transition from his striking game into a grappling game. Browne could definitely catch him coming in on some of these exchanges, but it's going to be a tall task for him. A combination of excellent footwork and outstanding head movement makes him relatively hard to hit. And while we've seen Travis Browne have some success timing guys as they level change or go for that takedown, and he throws that counter strike and really hurts people, rocks people, can finish fights like that, I have a hard time seeing him being able to do that against such a high-level grappler like Cain. The former champ will undoubtedly eat a few to work his way in, but just that high pace, his ability to just suffocate his opponents as we saw him do against JDS, to just be in Travis Browne's face all evening, I really see this for the champ. Next, we have the interim featherweight title fight between Jose Aldo and Frankie Edgar. I am so stoked for this fight. Both men have really been on different career trajectories since their first fight. Aldo has battled through many injuries, and then he capped it off by getting knocked out by Conor McGregor in 13 seconds. Frankie Edgar, on the other hand, has been on a tear. Impressive victories over Uriah Faber and a knockout of Chad Mendes has really got the MMA community going. When is this guy gonna get his title shot? Well, here it is. Let's start with Jose Aldo. This guy was the featherweight king for a decade. He trains down there with the guys at Nova União. He has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he is a 4-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. He also has some excellent Muay Thai, employing some of the most devastating leg kicks and body kicks in the history of mixed martial arts. While primarily known for his strikes, this guy has a very underrated grappling game. And going against an excellent wrestler in Frankie Edgar, that's probably good. He has a 91% takedown defense. And throughout his career, he's been able to force wrestlers to fight his style. And while Aldo likes to stalk down his opponents, his bread and butter is in that counter game. He slips off that center line, rips off a body punch, leg kick combination, and he has excellent footwork. He's able to follow up on his opponents if they move backwards from that and strike them properly. But if the guy pressures forward or wants to get one back immediately, Aldo once again slips and counters on the other side. The big question mark on Jose Aldo is very similar to the question marks for Cain Velasquez. Who is this fighter right now? Is this the same fighter that ruled the division? or is this a diminished fighter? And I'm not just talking about Conor McGregor knocking him out in 13 seconds. When he first fought Chad Mendes, he was elusive, able to move in and out of the pocket and really pepper Chad Mendes. In that second fight, he was getting peppered with shots. This is a fighter that's very reliant on the fact that he is very athletic. Can he properly adjust his game if he has in fact lost a step? To make a basketball analogy, this is like how it is with big men in the NBA. You see these guys that are over-reliant on their athleticism. They're really great when they're young, but those that can really transition and prolong their careers are the ones that learn the skill sets that allow them to still be effective and efficient on the court, even if they've lost a step or two. This is the difference between, say, a Hakeem Olajuwon and a Dwight Howard. I mean, one of them won 2 championships. The other one went to Atlanta. Aldo was at the top of the game when he last fought Frankie. This is truly a case of where age is just a number. Aldo isn't even 30 yet, and yet he has a lot of wear and tear on that body. And Frankie Edgar at 34 seems faster than ever. Let's talk about the former lightweight champion, Frankie Edgar. He trains up there with Mark Henry and company. This guy is a 4-time Division I collegiate wrestler. He's got a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and, in my opinion, has some of the best MMA boxing in the game. The way he uses his strikes to either set up other strikes or set up grappling exchanges depending on what his opponent is doing is truly, truly slick stuff. On paper, this should be an excellent fight on a night of excellent fights. I see Frankie Edgar's footwork being the key to the fight. Edgar can put on the pace, and he can dart in and angle out, and it makes it increasingly difficult for his opponents to hit him. This puts Aldo in a bit of quandary, because he likes to counter in these exchanges, but by countering, he leaves himself more susceptible to the takedown, which plays into Frankie Edgar's hands. If he retreats and continually allows Frankie Edgar to dart in and out, he'll risk Frankie outpointing him. And if he decides to start initiating some of these exchanges, which is not his style, he leaves himself vulnerable to counters, the way he did to Chad Mendes, the way he did to Conor McGregor. I think this is going to be an excellent fight. I see a fired up Aldo that wants to go out there and show everyone that he is still one of the best on the planet at what he does. And I see this fight going to decision, but with Frankie Edgar's hand raised at the end of the night. So hashtag and new, but I mean that would have been true either way. Plus it's a bonus for Frankie to be one of the few guys that has won a belt in 2 different weight classes. Moving on, we got Daniel Cormier versus, wait a minute, Anderson the Spider Silva? And we're so excited, we're about to have the Spider himself on the show to talk about this craziness. Anderson, what's up, Spider bro? Hey, what's up, bros? So out of nowhere, we find out Wednesday evening that John Jones got busted by USADA and was gonna be pulled from the UFC 200 card. Most fans just assumed that Cormier wasn't gonna fight, and out of nowhere, here you are to save the card.
Yeah, well, you know, I like to watch the documentaries, and I recently saw one. It was called, like, The Biggest Loser, and it really touched my heart. I mean, I saw these, like, really cute, like, fit people, and they really help out, like, these fat people, and I was just like, I would really like to be like those people, so this is my way of going and giving back and helping out a fat persona.
The guy you were fighting against, Daniel Cormier, may look a little chubby, but he is one of the best mixed martial artists on the planet. What have you been doing to prepare for this fight with Daniel?
Oh, I've been working on some new kicks.
Oh, like, which kicks?
Like, I got kicked out of a zoo.
What? That's a different type of kick, Anderson. How did you get kicked out of a zoo?
I mean, it was all really quite unfortunate. I mean, I basically watched a documentary on, like, turtles. And so I went to the zoo and, like, I tried to like cram a bunch of pizza into like their terrarium, and they were all like, "Hey, you can't do that. Like, you have to leave the zoo now." And I was all like, "You guys are like bad zoologists, 'cause turtles love pizza."
Again, Anderson, I'm not quite sure you know what a documentary is, but either way, we wish you all the best in your upcoming fight with Daniel Cormier. Good luck, my friend.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me, bros. I can't wait to have that light heavyweight belt around my waist.
Yeah, it's a non-title fight.
Ay, Dios mío!
Alright, Anderson Silva, ladies and gentlemen. It's always fun when he stops by the show. Anderson Silva has had an absolutely legendary career. It is great that he's saving the card. The fans are gonna love it. I'm not really gonna get into it here. I think this is clearly Daniel Cormier's fight. We've seen Anderson Silva, even in his prime, struggle against wrestlers like Chael Sonnen. Daniel Cormier is on a different level, and this isn't the same Anderson Silva anymore. Father Time is undefeated, and he suffered some brutal leg injuries, so this is tough. You would think maybe if he can catch him with something, that might be his blueprint to rule the octagon. But we've seen Cormier eat a shot from Anthony Rumble Johnson, survive a barrage of shots from Alexander Gustafsson. It would be a much bigger upset than, say, Bisping over Rockhold. And this takes us to what was temporarily marked as the main event after John Jones dropped out. Brock Lesnar versus Mark Hunt. Let's start with the former champ. He fights with the guys at Team Def Clutch up there in Canada. He is a former NCAA heavyweight champion and a 4-time All-American wrestler. This guy is the very definition of freak. He is crazy big, crazy strong, crazy fast. The biggest question with Brock is, what does he look like, having not fought in over 5 years? His opponent is the Super Samoan Mark Hunt. In many ways, his record says it all. He is 12-10. He finishes or he gets finished. Fights out of Team Mark Hunt down in Australia. He is famous for his crazy knockout power, but this guy is a skilled up striker. He's a former K1 Grand Prix champion and has won many kickboxing tournaments. Mark is favored to win this fight, and for good reason. We've seen in the past, Brock tends to shell up when he gets hit. I've heard some people say something like, Brock doesn't like getting hit. I mean, I don't know if anybody really likes getting hit unless you're Diego Sanchez or Joe Lauzon. But the way he reacts to getting hit does leave him vulnerable for some power shots, particularly the uppercut, which is going to be there for Mark Hunt, who's going to be a substantially shorter fighter. And even though it is slightly disappointing as an American to see Brock walk out to Canadian colors, I think he's going to pull off the upset and win this fight. While Mark Hunt is no stranger to giving up both the height and reach advantage to most of his opponents, he'll be giving up nearly a foot of reach to Brock Lesnar. The only person that enjoys Mark Hunt's power as much as the fans is probably Mark Hunt himself, and he'll frequently sit down on those punches. And by shifting his weight onto that lead leg to throw off that overhand, he's going to be susceptible to that single leg takedown. I think Brock has a better chin than most people give him credit for, and I see him being able to eat a couple shots from Mark Hunt and really be able to dictate where this fight goes. And if he gets on top of Mark Hunt, we've seen him have a very, very fluid top game. Calling the upset, I'm going to go with my boy Brock here. Brock. Bro is even built into his name. This guy's one of the bros we know. Wrapping things up, we have the main event of the evening. The women's bantamweight title match between Miesha Tate versus Amanda Nunes. The champ trains with the guys at Extreme Couture MMA in Vegas. She has really turned herself into a complete mixed martial artist, but everything starts with her wrestling. Her opponent, Amanda Nunes, fights out of American Top Team down in Florida. She has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a brown belt in Judo. She is a Muay Thai fighter, and she throws punches in bunches. We've seen her in some of the previous fights start to maybe throw technique out the window, really start sitting down and just wailing with power shots, but the results speak for themselves. She has 9 knockout victories. Amanda's issue is that she gasses. We've seen this happen in 3-round fights where she'll really slow down that 3rd round. So I think the longer this fight goes, especially once it goes into those championship rounds, it's really going to start favoring the champ, who has an endless gas tank. Miesha Tate's fight against Holly Holm is one of the best women's mixed martial arts fights ever. And we got to see a very disciplined Miesha. Not the Miesha that goes out, bull rushes, but one that really stuck to her game plan. And while her finish on Holly Holm is one for the ages, it was really what she was doing throughout the fight that was truly impressive. She made it very uncomfortable for Holly Holm to strike. I mean, we're talking about a world-class striker in Holly Holm, and she was tentative about firing off, and you have to credit Miesha Tate for that. She knew when to feint, she knew when to shoot, and just kept Holly on her toes all night. Nunes is a very dangerous fighter, possessing dangerous power for that division. But I see Miesha being able to control the fight, using her grappling and keeping Amanda at bay in the early rounds. And as it gets to the later rounds and Amanda starts slowing down a bit, I really see Miesha starting to put the pedal to the metal, pressing the pace. And we're going to be hearing "and still" at the end of the evening. So what do you guys think? Do you agree or disagree with my picks? Tell me in the comments below, or you can hit me up on Twitter at FaceTheFacts22. You can also tweet at BroisBros. And if you like this podcast, I encourage you to go check out our website, broisbros.com, where you can find links to both our articles and blogs. I want to thank you, Ben Nguyen, again, for stopping by and chatting with us. Wish him all the best. My name's Fiat. I just want to say, if you need a DJ, I know a guy. Enjoy UFC 200, fight fans, and until next time, we are the Bros, you knows.